love you.
I love you too.
So we have reaffirmation my wife loves me. That's very important. There was no doubt, incidentally. As those of you that know her, you know I've only been successful as a senator because May's been strongly at my side, helping me lead a community. And it's been a pleasure to represent, and is a pleasure to represent the community, the Senate district of the largest API community. And that's why this is important to us. How many of you remember this little thing called SCA 5? Yeah? Well, you know, that was an awakening moment for many of you here today and for many of the Asian community in California, because that's when the majority party became a supermajority. And what's the first thing they did? They tried to do a constitutional amendment to overturn Prop 209 to reestablish affirmative action. So, after all that went, and because there was such an outcry from the Asian community, SCA 5 crashed and burned. But you remember, there's many rallies, there were many forums, there was a lot of press. It was a grassroots effort to overturn wrong-headed thinking from Sacramento. The good thing from that is, many of you started paying attention to Sacramento. In the fall of 2014, after SCA 5 collapsed, there was a PPIC, Public Policy Institute of California, interview of the Democrat leaders, the legislative leaders, and they asked for their highest priorities for the 2015 and 16 session. And what was right at the top, or within the top couple? Affirmative action, reestablishing. And so last year, Assemblymember Bonta introduced AB 176. Now, to be fair, it sounded like a good idea, and it sailed through the legislature. And then one of your community looked at it and said, wait a second, this is the back door into reestablishing affirmative action. And we had been caught napping. And so it was too late to do anything about that, but the governor vetoed it. And what he said in his veto message was, part of it, I am wary of the ever-growing desire to stratify. Dividing people into ethnic or other subcategories may yield more information, but not necessarily greater wisdom about what actions should follow. Now the governor, that was very wise what he wrote, and I hope he has kept that same spirit as this bill likely gets to his desk again this year. But AB 1726 was introduced this year, a second attempt, and it covers pretty much the same thing. Now they have education, which we're all concerned about, and they also have health. Now in committee, they're talking about health. And how can you argue that there might be a subgroup that has a higher diabetes, you know? But if you're treating that person, that's not at the expense of somebody else. But when it comes to education, our experience is that it is not a balanced, level playing field. The only thing that saves us in California is Prop 209, so our public universities cannot use race as a means for entrance. So what's happened at Harvard and Yale and the Ivy League schools? They have frozen the API enrollment at the same level it was 20 years ago when we were half the population. So, you know, discrimination does exist in education. Discrimination will continue to exist if we don't come out and fight efforts like this. College is the great equalizer. Should we use race to determine that? No. Okay. Just wanted to make sure you were still awake out there. Should we use economic status? That's probably a yes. Should we pit API members against each other in the quest for higher education? No. In fact, I would say never. Thank you for coming up here. Thank you for your loud voice. It will be heard. You are making a difference. We appreciate everything. Thank you so much. 谢谢.